It's 4 in the morning. On a quiet, suburban street, the only thing you can hear is the distant hum of a highway. But in that darkness, an army is moving. Shadowy figures in tactical gear, armed with assault rifles, are surrounding a multi-million-dollar mansion. This isn't some far-off war zone. This is a battleground in the heart of America. A voice, amplified by a loudspeaker, cuts through the silence. All occupants, this is the FBI. We have a search warrant. Exit the front door with your hands up. Seconds later, the pre-dawn quiet is shattered by an explosive breach. What follows is a whirlwind of controlled chaos, the result of a year-long investigation aimed at one target: a ruthless and sophisticated drug empire that had operated freely for years. This is the story of how it was built, and how it all came crashing down in a single night. To understand the fall, you have to understand the rise. This wasn't a small-time street crew. This was a corporate enterprise, built on narcotics but structured just like a legitimate company, complete with divisions for logistics, finance, and enforcement. At the very top sat a man known to law enforcement only as El Arquitecto, the architect. He wasn't your typical thug. He was a brilliant, patient, and ruthless operator who understood the modern mechanics of crime. His organization didn't just move drugs. It managed a complex international supply chain. Their business model was brutally effective. Most of the cocaine was sourced from cartels in Colombia and then funneled through Mexico. From there, a fleet of long-haul trucks, hidden among legitimate commercial shipments, would move the product to a network of unassuming stash houses in major cities across the US. At its peak, the operation was smuggling over 60 tons of cocaine a year into the United States and Canada. But the architect's real innovation was how he handled the money. The billions in profit weren't just stuffed into duffel bags. They were laundered through a dizzying maze of cryptocurrency wallets and shell corporations. Investigators would later find a single crypto wallet holding over 3 million, just a tiny fraction of the empire's total worth. Behind all the business-like precision was a culture of extreme violence. Dissidents were silenced, rivals were eliminated, and debts were collected through terror. The organization was tied to multiple execution-style murders, a chilling reminder of the saying that governed their world: plata o plomo, silver or lead, a choice between a bribe and a bullet. One insider later told investigators that the architect's enforcers had threatened his family to guarantee his silence, a common and terrifying tactic. For years, the empire grew in the shadows. Its leaders hid in plain sight, living in luxury homes and running what looked like legitimate businesses. They were ghosts, their wealth growing while communities were ravaged by the drugs they supplied. But every empire, no matter how powerful, eventually makes a mistake. The first thread that would unravel El Arquitecto's empire didn't come from a shootout, but from a routine traffic stop thousands of miles away. A state trooper pulled over a speeding refrigerated truck. Tucked away inside, hidden among pallets of blueberries, was 783 pounds of pure methamphetamine. That one seizure set off alarm bells. A specialized multi-agency task force, combining the resources of the DEA, FBI, and local police, had been dealing with the fallout from a new drug pipeline for months. Overdoses were spiking, and high-purity narcotics were flooding the streets. This truck was their first solid link. What followed was a painstaking high-tech game of cat and mouse. The investigation, codenamed Operation Take Back America, was a masterclass in modern policing. Agents used every tool they had: court-ordered wiretaps to listen in on calls, undercover agents to infiltrate the network's lower levels, and sophisticated surveillance to track their every move. Slowly, the task force started piecing it all together. They identified the key players, the supply routes, and the money launderers. But the man at the top, the architect, remained a ghost, insulated by layers of subordinates. After months of dead ends, they finally got a break. An informant, a low-level player terrified for his life after a shipment went missing, gave them the key. He revealed the location of the operation's nerve center, a sprawling $4.8 million mansion in an exclusive gated community. A property once owned by a famous music producer, now the headquarters for a billion-dollar drug lord. Suddenly, everything clicked. The task force realized they weren't just chasing a local crew. They were staring at one of the largest suppliers of cocaine and meth to the entire continent. The planning for the raid began immediately. It had to be fast, overwhelming, and perfect. There would be no second chances. The raid itself was a symphony of controlled force. As teams breached the front door, other agents on boats secured the waterfront, cutting off any chance of escape. The surprise was total. Inside, agents found a scene of pure panic. They also found everything they had spent a year looking for. The house wasn't just a home. It was a command center. They seized ledgers detailing drug deals, laptops with open crypto wallets, and an arsenal of illegal firearms. And in the master bedroom, they finally came face to face with the architect himself. His empire, so carefully built, had crumbled in just a few minutes. At the exact same time, coordinated raids were happening across the country, and with partners in Mexico and Canada. Stash houses were hit, distributors were arrested, and millions in assets were seized. They found bricks of cocaine stamped with superhero logos, 55-gallon drums filled with liquid meth, and pills laced with deadly fentanyl, all designed to look like prescription medication. The entire criminal enterprise was decapitated overnight. The aftermath was staggering. The raids resulted in the seizure of thousands of pounds of narcotics, dozens of firearms, and millions in cash and crypto. More than a dozen key figures in the organization were indicted on charges ranging from drug trafficking to murder. The sentences were severe. Lower-level dealers got lengthy prison terms, while the inner circle faced life behind bars. El Arquitecto, the man who thought he was untouchable, was convicted of running a continuing criminal enterprise. He will spend the rest of his life in a federal maximum security prison. The takedown was a massive win for law enforcement, a battlefield victory, as one DEA official later put it. It was the result of tireless collaboration between local, state, federal, and international agencies. An entire transnational criminal organization was dismantled, and a massive pipeline of poison was cut off. This single operation saved countless lives by taking deadly drugs off the streets. But those on the front lines know this is a war of attrition. The demand for illegal drugs doesn't just go away. For every kingpin that falls, another is always waiting to take their place. The criminal world adapts, using new technology and new routes to try and stay one step ahead. The raid on the architect's mansion wasn't the end of the war on drugs, but it was a critical battle won. It proved that no matter how sophisticated or ruthless a criminal empire is, a dedicated and coordinated effort can bring it to its knees. And it sent a clear message into the shadows of the underworld. You are not untouchable, and we will never stop coming for you. The fight against these global criminal networks is happening every day. If you want to see more deep dives into the operations that are taking down these empires, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.